What is good, YouTube? Welcome back to another JC2K video. In today's video, I'm going to be giving y'all my out of position content predictions for this weekend here in NBA 2K25 MyTEAM. Now, as I just said, I am predicting an out of position drop this weekend here in MyTEAM, which does mean that I think we're going to get a bunch of out of position cards, including some that we've gotten before, just like fan favorites. Now, I could be wrong. This might not be this weekend. It might be next, but at some point this season, we're getting out of position, and I would not be surprised at all if it's this weekend. They dropped an extremely hyped up drop last weekend in fan favorites. An out of position drop would absolutely make a ton of money as well. Whether it's this weekend, next weekend, or even in a month, I'm sure at some point this season we are going to get out of position because 2K is bringing back these popular, I guess, retro drops from previous 2Ks, and out of position is definitely one of the most popular drops in the history of MyTEAM, and 2K's obviously done it several times as well. So before we hop into it, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Help me push towards the 40,000 subscriber mark on the channel. I upload every single day, multiple videos a day. Would really appreciate it if y'all do subscribe. And without further ado, let's hop right into it. Hello, Archer. He's just out of frame, but he came over to say hi. All right, so as I said, previous fan favorites cards, guys like Jeremy Lin, guys like Danny Granger, I believe may have been a previous fan favorites card. Dino was definitely a previous fan favorites card. I believe some of these other guys were too. Eddie Curry, guys like this. Like, we've gotten these cards before to a certain extent, a lot of these names. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a repetition in the names of guys that we get from previous drops. Like the last time we got out of position was in 2K23, where we got this first out of position drop, which was Bill Russell at small forward and Jimmy Butler at point guard, in addition to a bunch of other cards. This Luke Walton was an absolute monster in 2K23. Power forward Taka was just so glitchy at the time because he was like the tallest and best. He's probably the best power forward in the game because of size. Şengün could play point guard. Like, it was a pretty crazy drop. Then we got out of position 2, which same story, had point guard Jokic, point guard on our test, a shooting guard Kevin Garnett, like just absolutely souped up cards as well in this one. And I mean, I think we might have even gotten a couple out of position 3 in 2K22 as well. I don't even remember, 2K23 I should say. 2K22 also had out of position. We had these out of position cards, specifically out of position point guard MJ, which is one of the best cards in the history of MyTEAM, my favorite ever MyTEAM card, because the uncontestability of his jumper and how perfect his sigs were. This card is my favorite card to ever be in 2K. Loved this card, but I don't think MJ is probably going to get a card considering he already has his 100 overall card. I don't think these 3 cards came out with the original out of position drop. If I remember correctly, these 3 were like additions in when they got their own drops. Like the way 2K22 did content at the end of the year was kind of strange, if I remember correctly, because I think there were like drops where it was like 6 different versions of the same card, or same player, I should say. And I think that's where these 3 cards, if I remember correctly, came from. But we are probably also going to see some of these, like we're going to see point guards at center, like Penny Hardaway center, or I think there's another example, T-Mac at center, power forward right here, Klay Thompson at center, stuff like that. We're gonna see some cards like that. Who those are going to be, I really have no idea, but in all honesty, they're not going to be good cards, so it doesn't really matter all that much. Guys who are 6'7" being centers are not going to be cards that people are going to want, plain and simple. But there are a lot of names in here that would be extremely interesting to see. Kobe had an out of position card in 2K21. 2K21 also had a bunch of other out of position drops. There were 4 in total. There was this one with Grant Hill and Kobe, both of whom were awesome cards, but then there was also an out of position 2 drop with Boogie, Giannis, LeBron, guys like that. Pretty insane drop here. And then also out of position 3, which had this AK card. It was one of my favorite cards. I think he might have been my favorite point guard in the entirety of 2K21. In all honesty, I loved that card. And out of position 4, same story. We had a Dark Matter Poku, Dark Matter Hito, Dark Matter Rudy Gay, all of which point guard eligible. I would assume, and Dark Matter T-Mac as well. I would assume we are going to get an extremely point guard heavy drop one way or another in out of position, is what I will say. And my predictions for the point guards, I'm not really sure who we're going to get for the lower tiers. I think it could be a variety of players, guys. I wouldn't be surprised if it's names like this from the past, like Jalen Rose just got a card, but otherwise I'd predict him like a Darius Miles at point guard would make some sense, although he did just get a pink diamond relatively recently. I feel like we're going to get Ben Simmons, but is he really considered out of position at point guard? Maybe not. We just got Tony Kukoc, so probably not going to see Tony Kukoc. A point guard, Jimmy Butler, he hasn't gotten a card above. Well, no, he has. Doesn't Jimmy does have a Dark Matter, if I'm not mistaken. Does he not? I believe Jimmy does have a Dark Matter, doesn't he? Oh no, Jimmy does not have a Dark Matter. So a point guard Jimmy would make sense. We could see that. A big man, I don't know who the big men are going to be, but there's a variety of them that it could be. I would not be surprised if we hadn't just got him at seeing an out of position Minute. but that's probably not going to happen because he just obviously just got a card this past week. So a lot of the names that we got last week are guys who also would have been candidates for out of position cards as well. But I will say this, I do know who I think the top tier cards are going to be, and I think it's going to be 2 of these 3 names. We're going to get 200 overalls, and I can tell you right now that I think I know who the 100 overalls are going to be. The rest of the drop is such a crapshoot. I mean, we could see point guard Draymond, we could see point guard Şengün, like from this drop. Those cards would absolutely make a lot of sense. Neither of those guys have extremely high tier cards. Their highest tier cards are Opal and Pink Diamond, respectively. If I'm not mistaken, Draymond only has a Pink Diamond this year. Bill Russell's not in my team, so we won't be getting him. Like I said, Jay Butler would make sense as a dark matter at point guard. That would definitely be a logical card. One of these, like an out of position Taco, he did just get a card relatively recently, but I wouldn't be shocked to see some giant. We're going to get at least one like 7'2" guy who can play shooting guard, maybe even point guard. We'll see. If we get an out of position drop, who that's going to be, I have no idea, but there are a variety of guys that it could be. But I will tell you all this. My prediction for the 100 overalls is 2 of these 3 guys: Nikola Jokic, LeBron James, and Giannis Antetokounmpo. Whoever they are, I believe, will have point guard eligibility. It is possible we see a drop where it's like 100 overall, somebody giant, and they're at small forward. Like that could also happen, but I would not be surprised at all to see a 100 overall point guard Giannis and 100 overall point guard Jokic. Would be obviously 2 of the best point guards in the game, maybe the 2 best point guards in the game, very likely anyway, at 6'11" respectively. I believe they're both 6'11" actually. Obviously, would be absolutely broken cards, and that's the thing about out of position is we are guaranteed, I'm almost certain, to get a couple of just ridiculously broken giant point guards. It is going to kill the small guard meta once and for all in my team. Not that there really is a small guard meta, but there is a viability to small guards because of the lack of really good tall PGs that is going to go out of the window with an out of position drop. But at the same time, an out of position drop does have the potential to give us incredible budget cards. Like if 2K was tapped in with the community in 2K23, this Luke Walton card was awesome. I would love to see a Luke Walton card in 2K25 who's point guard eligible and really well rounded and really good, like that 2K23 one. Like that would be a card that is a throwback in a good way for me for a budget card. Like I'd like to see some of these budget names and some of these cards that are really good budget cards. I mean, even Joe Ingles was really good as a budget PG in 2K23 as well. Obviously, point guard Hito's a card we've seen in the past. He did get a card last season, but we could see that. Ben Wallace has gotten a couple of guard cards in the past as well. He hasn't gotten a card since, I believe, his Galaxy, since his Winter Festival Galaxy Opal. I would love to see a Dark Matter Ben Wallace that's point guard eligible. That'd be a cool card. Really feel like one way or another we're going to see Jimmy, whether it's a big man Jimmy or a point guard Jimmy, because he's had multiple out of position cards in the past. Arvydas Sabonis, he got a level 5 reward card, but he hasn't gotten a good card this year. Maybe we could see him. Evan Mobley, if they finally gave him a good jumper, could be one of those guys who's potentially versatile. Obviously, guys like KP, Taco, and Yao, if they were to get cards, would be ridiculous as out of position guys. It wouldn't surprise me if we do see at least one of those names in out of position. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of versatility and a lot of variety to what we could see in an out of position drop here in 2K25. Either way, I hope it's good. I hope it's interesting, and I hope we have some really, really great budget cards to combat what are likely to be some of the most broken cards in my team coming in and out of position drop. And we'll find out later today whether or not my prediction for out of position was actually right or not. If it isn't this week, I bet y'all it's still coming soon. So we'll see what happens. I hope y'all did enjoy the video. If you did, make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. I'll be back with more 2K content very, very soon, and I appreciate y'all. Peace.